you for coming out tonight. It's hard to believe that we have another school year upon us. Well, the summer sure does go by fast. It seems to go by faster as we get older, but nonetheless, we are here. We are geared up for another year. The school and the coaches and whatnot are ready to get after it with the fall sports. Football starting practice tomorrow, and volleyball starting up in a couple weeks, with cheer and dance to follow the fall sports. As most of you probably already have done, please pick up the required paperwork. Your physical and alternate year cards need to be in before the first day of practice. So for anybody going out for football, that needs to be in tonight or tomorrow at the high school office before you can even step on the practice field. All the other paperwork that is back there, there's the HIPAA form, the WIA eligibility form, transportation waiver, and the athletic code, activities code, that paperwork is required prior to your first game. All right, but if you're here tonight, you should be able to fill out everything, paper clip it together, and please put it in that white box in the back. Also on the back side here, we have the Wolverine Sports Booster apparel set up as well. Some discounted items that they want to kind of get out of here before the new shipment comes in for the year. So you can visit Coach Stummers in the back if you're interested in any apparel for tonight. Another quick announcement, booster related wise, there is a fundraiser that is going to take place this Saturday at Gateway, which is whatever game you want to call it, beanbag toss or cornhole, but that's going to start at 2 p.m. The registration for that starts at noon, from noon to 1:30. Two-man teams or two-woman teams or one man, one woman, doesn't matter. Must be 21 or older, so parents, if you have any other relatives or whatnot and you want to get together for a good time, this Saturday, it'll be for a nice cause, raising money for the Booster Club. Before we get going with the activities code, I'm going to bring up and introduce you to Brian Clevin, our athletic trainer, and he's got a short little presentation on what he does for the student athletes.
All right, thank you, Jeff. So, as he introduced me, I'm Brian Clevin. This is actually going to be my 8th year here at Crivets. Since we had some changes at the hospital, I wanted to take this opportunity to kind of go over just a few things. Most of you know me from either interacting with your athletes or seeing me at events, so should be a familiar face to most people. As you can see on the screen, that's the hospital's new logo, Bay Area Medical Center, and then an Aurora affiliate. So that's kind of our new technical name. So a couple topics I wanted to go over tonight. Just what the partnership means, kind of what athletic training means for Crivets, what we do here, some staff and locations, paperwork, and then also an online injury program that I would like parents and coaches to be involved with, hopefully starting this year. And then my expectations for concussions and recovery from concussions. Okay, so what the new partnership means. Bay Area, the main hospital in Marinette is still Bay Area. We're just affiliated with Aurora. Basically what it means, there's more access to providers, hopefully more insurance is accepted, and then the new big thing is a new hospital that will be opening up in 2017. Where? I do not know as of yet, but it should be coming out pretty soon. Okay, so what athletic training, what it means to Crivets. I am here pretty much Monday through Friday during the school year, right after school, basically all year. I'm available for covering practices, home events. It's actually a very nice service that the hospital provides free of charge to the school. We also provide, actually I just brought a whole carload of supplies over for the year. Everything from tape to wound care supplies. I mean, it's a pretty nice deal for the school. Now also, starting last year, we do a $3,000 donation for the physical education or similar program to just help benefit the community. Actually, I have Actually my PowerPoint, I have printed out for everybody, and then a training sheet at the end too. But this was kind of a printout of the services that I provided to the students last year. It was about a little over 1,800. Everything from evaluations to taping to wound care to rehabilitation, concussion management. So for a small school, actually it's quite a few. All right, just some staff in the local area, myself, which I also work. I have my master's degree in exercise physiology, so I do cardiopulmonary rehabilitation in the mornings at the hospital, and also stress testing. Kayla is here in Crivets most days of the week. One day a week, I believe she's in Marinette. And Pete is mostly in Crivets, so if anybody gets referred for physical therapy, Kayla, who is also a basketball coach, and then Pete will be familiar faces. Some of our main doctors, Dr. Leo, Dr. Scherer, who's a kind of foot specialist. Dr. Mady is an Aurora doctor, but he's stationed out of Marinette. Some other doctors that work fairly closely with our athletic training program, Dr. Parkinen, who is general surgeon, Dr. Gamez, who's my go-to for any cardiology-related questions, and then our new neurologist, Dr. Ahmed. I have not met myself, but I hear he's very good. These are some of the new Aurora Baycare doctors who should be up in Marinette one day a week, but their main base is going to be in Green Bay. So Dr. Hennigan, Dr. Henry, and Dr. Lamoni. And the three other ones, Dr. Schock, Dr. Sodi, and Dr. Schnabelt. All very good doctors. Some of the locations, the main hospital, until we move in 2017, is kind of the general area. And then the Aurora Baycare to see some of the Green Bay providers. Very nice facility. I've been there for a couple banquets and for different other activities, and it's impressive, very impressive. The other locations for physical therapy in Marinette, and also to see the doctors that would be coming up, is right at the Mobility Center, which is across from the hospital. And then right next to the North Reach here is our Bay Area Crivets location for physical therapy or rehab services. So paperwork. This year, for sure, still need the yellow health history, and then the blue permission to treat, and the HIPAA form. What I'm looking for, hopefully get from this year moving forward more and more, is we have an online program we've been using for several years called Sportswear. There's a step-by-step training sheet at the end of my packet. What that allows is each parent can make a login, and that way they can check on the status of their athlete, if they are cleared for practice, out, injury, that type of thing. So, it also allows you to fill in the information from the yellow and the blue sheet electronically, which hopefully in the future, that is a wave of the future. So we'd like to kind of start doing that. So please take the opportunity, and I'd really appreciate if you could kind of go through that sheet. It's pretty simple. I had my wife, Amy, log in or create an account and just to see how it goes, and she thought it was pretty simple. So this is kind of what the training sheet looks like. Step by step, it takes you through pretty well. Okay, big topic as of, the last several years, concussions. So, what we provide through the hospital, each year, or every 2 years, I test all the athletes, get a baseline standardized assessment of concussion, which is basically a battery of questions to see how well they answer before, and then if they would have a concussion. A test of balance, and being here every day of the week, being at practices, being around students, I very much know when somebody's not quite right. The most important thing for me is, I mean, the person sustains a concussion, whether from a hit, from a fall, I mean, can happen so many different ways. But the most important thing is getting them well. Symptoms, headache, I mean, concentration, sensitivities to light, sound, that type of thing, very, very important for me. Number one thing is to get them so they're feeling normal. And from there, the coaches all support me, but I also, it's big for the parents to understand what I expect from their students or from their children is that, I mean, we get them feeling back to 100%, and then we take them through an exertional protocol. It starts off with easy biking, and then day by day, it's basically a 5-step, it takes almost a week before they are back to practice and back to competing. Some people go through it faster, but some people, I mean, if they develop symptoms, they're back to square one, basically. And, I mean, number one, you want, I mean, life is long. You don't want an injury from high school plaguing you for the rest of your life. I mean, most people aren't going to be professional athletes. This is a great, I mean, sports are an excellent outlet to, I mean, build different skills, I mean, relationships, but, I mean, number one, health, very important. That's my number one. So this is, I mean, we have a big fancy word, algorithm on the right-hand side that we follow, all the different high schools that we're at, Marinette, Menominee, Crivets, Stevenson, UW Marinette. And that's a step-by-step what, if your child does sustain a concussion, kind of day by day what they would expect to do. And I mean, don't expect your child to go from feeling better to playing the next day. But if they work with me, it's not going to happen. They're going to go through, follow this, I'll do the necessary testing, and I'll get them back in a safe manner. That's absolutely the most important. I just want everybody on the same page. And I believe that's all I have for this evening. So I have the packet, the copy of the slideshow, and then also if you so kindly go on and check out that sportswear site. Step by step, it's not too bad. Questions, if you see me around, or actually Nikki, the secretary, emailed me, and I sent her the training sheet. If for some reason you lose it, she'll have extras in the office, and she was actually going to go through and try it herself today. So, thank you for your time, and I look forward to another good season.
Okay, thank you, Brian. I'm not going to go through word for word here with this athletic code. It's 16 pages long. A lot of it, obviously the stuff that we put in for this year, we implemented for this year, we will go over it in detail. One thing I do want to touch upon first, though, if you guys could open up to page 2 of the athletic code, activities code. I want to direct your attention to the bottom part there where it says goals. And I won't read those, but a couple things that are not in there. Number 1, winning conference championships is not in there. Obtaining athletic scholarships are not in there. Getting all conference or all state is not in there. All right? Don't take this the wrong way. I'm a pretty competitive person. Our coaches are pretty competitive people. We like to win. But the goals in participating in extracurricular activities being an extension of the classroom, winning is a byproduct. Winning will take place if you show what teamwork is about, if you show what a work ethic is about, if you show how coachable you are. Us coaches, I'm very confident in the staff that we have here as coaches keep in mind, we are amateurs. Some of us have our masters in coaching. Some of us have a lot of years experience, but we are still amateurs. We didn't sign a big contract like Mike McCarthy did down in Green Bay to coach high school sports here. No high school sport coaches like that. Anyway, we are, I promise you, as a staff, we will do our absolute best to do what we can with what we have to work with. And we expect that with you other players as well, and participants. We're not going to put you in positions where you can't do something. We're not going to ask you to score 40 points in a night or hit 4 home runs in a game. All right? It's a process involved. Everybody is number one at the dinner table. And when you have 35 or 40 guys on a football team, you have 12 girls on a volleyball team, you have 10 on a cheerleading squad, whatever the case is, understand where we come from. Our doors are always open. I know I may give the impression from time to time that I'm tough to talk to. However, anybody that's come through and walked through my classroom door can attest that I'm somebody that you can approach. Okay, so if there is a problem, if you have an issue with a coach, that'll get directed first, and then it'll go up the ladder as well. But I just want to point that out, that it's hard as a parent. You want so desperately your child to do well. It's a very, very small window. We understand that. And going forward, if we're in this together here, it's going to take a complete effort. From the top of the administration, to our coaches, to our student athletes, and to our parents and community members. It's a complete effort to have that type of environment and foster that environment in school setting. Okay. For you freshmen, incoming freshmen, I encourage you, strongly encourage you to get involved. Get involved with as many things as you can. Not necessarily playing 3 sports or trying to play 4 sports. But get involved with student council, get involved with forensics, get involved with band, get involved. That is my best advice I can give for you incoming freshmen. It goes by very fast. Every exit interview I do with seniors, they cannot believe how fast it goes. And those that are involved most, it really comes down to what you put into it is what you're going to get out of it. So I encourage you, please, please, even if you're not comfortable with it, get involved. Yeah, I think you won't be disappointed. And understand as well, I don't have the criteria on the activities code, but there is certain criteria for our major senior awards. And that involves getting involved. That involves participating more than just one sport. Obviously keeping your nose clean, which we'll get into. But starting as freshmen, a lot of people don't understand that. And they don't want to go for football as a freshman, or maybe they don't want to join volleyball as a freshman, and then all of a sudden they are 3-sport athletes for 3 years and they're pretty good. You may not qualify for those major senior awards. So just keep that in mind as well when you make your decisions on going on. If you don't want to go out, you don't have to go out. But I encourage you to at least try it. With grades, for you incoming freshmen, we changed this last year as well. If you are on the F list, the 4th quarter F list, you are academically ineligible to play starting with 21 days of your first competition. So if you're in a fall sport, it's 21 days from when the first game is. The first game for varsity football is August 20th. The first volleyball match at varsity level is August 25th. The first JV football game is August 25th as well, I believe. So it's 21 days from the start. So if you are on that F list, you're not going to be eligible to play, just so that you're aware. And I think when Mr. Blum and Mr. Johnson went over for orientation last spring, they let you incoming freshmen and 8th graders know that. So just a reminder in that regard. Once those 21 days are up, or if it's during the year, when first quarter grades come out or second quarter grades come out and you are on the F list, whether you get an F for the semester or F for the quarter, you're academically ineligible. So after 15 school days, if it's during the school year, the reason why I say it's 21 days because we haven't started school yet, we don't start until September 1st. We will do a grade check at the conclusion of those 15 days. If you are not passing your courses at the end of those 15 days, you are then basically ineligible until the next grades come out. So that's also an important point that people may misunderstand. Oh, I have to sit 15 school days, and however many events we have in those 15 school days, I'm ineligible for. Well, no, you have to also be passing your classes at that grade check. Okay, skipping ahead here to drinking, drug use, tobacco, etc. I want to first touch upon page 9. And that is the mere presence policy. And now that you are in high school, for those that are returning and those that are coming into high school, this code is enforced year-round. And it is completed when you finish your last senior contest. If school gets out before that, and there's games after that, your last contest playing for the school, that's how far that code is enforced. So what does mere presence policy mean? That means if you go to a party, or you go to a gathering, you go to a house, and there is alcohol, tobacco, drugs, whatever, present, and you don't leave immediately, and what I mean by immediately is you walk in, turn around, and walk right out because you didn't realize it was there, that is considered an athletic code violation. All right, even if you are being good, being behaved, you know there's something going on upstairs, you don't want to be a part of it, you're still technically in the presence of it. You need to remove yourself from that situation. Everybody has some type of device where you can communicate. If you don't have a license, have a plan when you do go somewhere. Have a friend that has a license, have a parent or a relative on call, whatever the case is. And surround yourself with people that don't do that. That'll probably solve most of your problems. Okay, so that would be considered an athletic code violation, even if you are in the presence. Now, graduation parties, weddings, anniversary parties, things like that, that's a different scenario. All right, you cannot necessarily go to a graduation party and your old man or your uncle pass you a beer and say, "Hey, party up. It's okay." I say it's okay. No, you can't consume alcohol or tobacco, whatever the case is. But in those scenarios, if alcohol is around, you're with your parents or whatever, monitored, then that is not considered necessarily an athletic code violation. All right, a lot of kids go to Gateway to eat after games. That's a place that serves food. That's totally fine. Just so that we are clear on that. With the first violation, if you happen to get involved with that, it is 25% of the total scheduled events for that activity. So if you are in a sport, if you are in student council, if you are in National Honor Society, if you are in all those other groups, and the groups are labeled, Group 1 activities covers basically our WIA sponsored activities, cheerleading and dance. Group 2 activities are forensics, student council, down the line there, and the Group 3 activities are like National Honor Society. Those are all affected. All right, so some people have the perception that you get punished multiple times. Well, it's all part of the athletic code, activities code. I keep saying athletic code, but really it's the activities code. So it's 25% of the total scheduled events, Group 1 activities. If it's a Group 2 activity, then the principal and the advisor will get involved and can set, if there's only a couple events for a certain activity, you may be suspended for half the year because there's only 2 events. That's kind of something that gets decided by the principal and the advisors of those programs. If you happen to come in and self-report, and what I mean by self-report is you show up to a party on a Saturday, you consume alcohol, or you smoke a cigarette, you come in Monday morning and you let the administration know that you violated the athletic code, that for the first time, the first offense, that'll get reduced from 25% to 10%. All right, if you get a drinking ticket, however, or a smoking citation, That is not, and they come in and say, hey, I got a ticket. That's not self-reporting. In a sense, even though you came to me before we dialed in the police reports, those police reports are available to us as a district. So if you do get a citation of some sort, that is not considered self-reporting. Part 3. If you want to reduce it from 10 to 10%, you can also successfully participate in a school-approved assessment, which I think that runs you around $300. I could be mistaken, it could be like $350. But this program will be necessary to participate to make it past the 3rd violation. You will have to enter some type of rehab program or whatever the case is, a school assessment program. If you want to, if you happen to get caught 3 times, there is still a small window that you can participate after your 3rd violation, but more often times than not, it's pretty much 3 strikes and you're out in high school. The suspended individual will be required to practice and attend games, matches, activities, uniformly consist of the team for all contests during the suspension, unless otherwise directed by administration. Every scenario can be a little bit different in that regard, but for the most part, you'll be able to sit up with the team, not sit up with the team, sit with the team, travel with the team, practice, so on and so forth. With the 2nd violation, if you happen to get caught in the same academic year, then that's going to be a calendar year suspension. You get a violation your freshman year, then get a violation your sophomore year, it is then 50%. And with the 3rd violation, then you're pretty much done for your high school career. Hopefully it doesn't get to that point. I have yet to have anybody get to 3 strikes. Anybody have any questions in that regard, as far as our 1st, 2nd, 3rd violations? Okay, moving on here to page 11. This is something new. You may have read in the papers. We are going to be implementing a suspicionless randomized drug testing for all extracurricular participants and anybody that parks their car in our district parking lot. The reason why we cannot test or randomize test every student is because in the state of Wisconsin, they are basically entitled to a free education. So the only thing that the only sector of students that we can basically test are those that have voluntarily participated in extracurricular activities or, in the fact, getting a parking permit. Okay, so that is the reason why it is against the law to test all students. But when it's all said and done, probably about 90–95% of our students are going to be eligible for randomized drug testing. This is not a program designed to say I got you from a school standpoint, or I'm going to catch you. We are not out to headhunt by any means. We are out to deter students away from drug use. That is the primary goal. If we can turn back 1 or 2 kids, or let's say they do test positive, and we inform the parents, and we get them involved, we get them the help they need. And if we can turn around just 1 or 2 students doing something like this, this program is well worth it, in my opinion. Any employer that you go to nowadays, Marinette Marine is a very large employer in our area, they drug test before you can walk in the door. A lot of places do this already in the real world. This is, as activities are concerned, they're extension of the classroom. We want to encourage students to make good choices. This is a program that is being fully funded by Bay Area Medical Center. This is not costing our district 1 penny. Which is very, very fortunate on our end. Derek Butler, who is Brian's boss, really, he was the one that kind of spearheaded this and got the finances set aside in his end through Bay Area Medical, and we are one of the first schools in the area, in the M&O anyway, to implement this. Florence has a program. There's a number of schools in the Green Bay area that have this already. Just about every school in the southeastern part of the state has something like this already. So I think it's something that's probably coming down the pipeline eventually for a lot of schools. But what is going to happen is we are going to conduct 5 tests twice a month. That is randomized. All the students will have ID numbers. Those ID numbers will be sent to Bay Area Medical, no names attached. Bay Area Medical has a computer program there where they will basically put in the student ID numbers. They will generate a randomized run through their computer system, and they'll spit out 5 student ID numbers. Those 5 student ID numbers will then be sent to me. We'll match up the student ID numbers on who the students are. Bay Area Medical has no idea who these student ID numbers, who they belong to. So it is completely randomized. It is out of our hands as far as who they test it. Now keep in mind, there may be, and this is just luck of the draw, you may get tested 2 or 3 times in a year. You may not get tested for 3 years. But that's what makes it truly randomized. Okay? And like I said, all the tests are given to us for free. And we will do the tests, the school nurse will do the test right in her office. And as needed, if it's a male administrator of some sort, will help collect the samples as far as just being, obviously there's, what's essentially going to happen is there'll be excuse to the restroom. An administrator or a nurse will be by the sinks. They'll be able to go in the stalls, collect their sample, and we'll take it from them. Okay? Now, there's been a lot of questions and whatnot about prescription medications. If you're on ADHD medicine, or any type of ADD medication or anything, the tests will pick that up. However, I will not even be informed if there's a positive test until the nurse has followed up with the parent. If something shows up positive on the test, you bring in the prescription to the school nurse that this person has that prescription and this is why it turned out that way. There's no athletic code violation. None. I won't even know about it. You do have the right to appeal the tests. Okay? And with that, I want to direct your attention to page 13. I'm appealing a positive test. You'll have the opportunity within 24 hours of notification of the positive test result to have a sample tested at the family's expense. The student and parent guardian may consult their primary care provider for a lab draw for non-negative substance and a confirmatory test. That's the key. You have to have a confirmatory test. All right? Obviously, I understand that clinics are not open on the weekends. The confirmatory test is the absolute test. Should the sample test confirm a positive result, and there's not a satisfactory explanation for the positive results, all consequences specified in the extracurricular activities code will apply. If the test determines that it is a false positive, the school district will reimburse the student family for the cost of the non-negative substance and confirmatory test. Okay, these tests that we have are pretty reliable. They're used by the DOT. They can check for alterations. Okay, they can check the pH balances. So if somebody tries to add something to their test, tries to cheat the system of some sorts, it'll pick that up. Okay. Again, I can't emphasize enough that we are simply trying to deter students away from drug use. I really don't see too much of an issue with that. Obviously, as parents, it's pretty tough. This is something that we as teachers, coaches, administrators may have a grasp on students. believe that they wouldn't. You as a parent has a grasp on your own child, believing that they wouldn't. And it's come up time and time again that it can happen. It can happen anyway. And I think getting that help, I mean, of course there's going to have to be some consequences involved if you're involved in extracurricular activities. However, getting help is the most important thing. And getting students back on the right track, that's key. For those individuals that like to work out, I'm going to warn you right now to make sure you educate yourself, because this is against the WIAA. Those protein shakes that have creatine in it. Okay? That's against the state association anyway. All right? Make sure your stuff that you drink does not have creatine in it. It will pick that up. Okay? So I just want to make sure everybody aware of that. This test will not test alcohol. If we feel that they're using alcohol, we can smell it, we can have the police come in and do a breathalyzer. Okay, but it's a 12-panel test. Okay? I also want to point out on page 12, in that first big paragraph, going halfway through, sign the consent, and here is the conditions thereafter shall be a condition for participation in co-curricular activities. If an extracurricular participant refuses to take the drug test when they are selected, it will be treated as a positive test result, and therefore result in activities code violation. Okay, so I want to make everybody aware of that. If anybody has any questions about this, all right, my door is always open, and we can field some questions when we're done as well. Okay. Moving on. To page 14, the bottom of page 14. Other serious violations and or conduct unbecoming of a student athlete. We cannot predict, or we cannot prepare ourselves. We would have books and books and books of this activity code for every possible scenario there is in regards to student behavior. We have a certain expectation for you as a member of our, member of our school. You're a reflection of our community. We hold you to a higher standard. Every situation is a little bit different. And you ask any trial lawyer in the court of law, every single scenario is different. And there are certain times where there are different punishments. The big thing with conduct unbecoming a student athlete is it can be including and up to an activities code violation. Including and up to an activities code violation. There's been some stuff in the past or whatnot, but I can tell you, we as an administration, we consult with other districts. We ask other athletic directors, I do anyway, what do you do in this situation? Because this is kind of a loose-ended deal. All right? Toilet paper in the house, can it be considered conduct unbecoming? Yeah, it can. You could possibly get a citation for it. Us as parents, myself, may have toilet paper a little bit in high school. It's a little harmless, okay? But we understand that. Every situation is a little bit different, as opposed to maybe doing some type of graffiti at a park or egging a house or something along those lines. Okay? There's different severities. Okay? So, as I said before, not every situation is covered, but we do have this kind of as a safety net within our code. That if you happen to get in trouble with law enforcement, that there may be not just consequences of that, but with the school as well. Okay, last thing we will cover is the activity fee. Starting with the 2015-16 school year, each family will be required to pay a $100 fee. This fee can be reimbursed. It says at the end of the school year. It can be at any point during the school year. Upon the completion of working a minimum of 4 events for the Wolverine Sports Boosters in the concession stand and home events where concessions are sold. Okay, these events can be worked by the student athlete themselves, parent, guardian, relative, a designee, anybody can work on your behalf. But a minimum of 4 is required. Once you completed your 4, you will get your money reimbursed. If you complete 1 of the 4, 2 of the 4, 3 of the 4, you will not get your money reimbursed. We've had a hard time getting help in our concession stand. And this is something that, I think as far as from a fairness standpoint is concerned, whether you have 1 child, 2 kids, 3 kids, playing sports in high school in grades 9 through 12, you only have to work 4 events. And I don't think that's too much to ask for. It can be worked at any point in time during the year. It does not have, if your son participates in football, you don't have to work football games. You can work volleyball, you can work basketball, we have softball, baseball in the spring, track in the spring. At any point in time, you can fulfill those 4 events. We have, tonight, we have with us some members of the Sports Boosters that are here. If you brought your calendars, after we adjourn with the volleyball meetings and football meetings, if you want to head down to the library, we have computers that are set up. We have a Sign Up Genius program that is set up for at least the fall sports right now, from my understanding. Is that right, Chris? I have to put you on the spot. Yeah, fall sports are taken care of right now. We'll be able to get them filled. Okay, if you don't want to work until the winter, that's fine as well. You don't have to sign up tonight by any means. It is a first come, first served basis. And the Sports Boosters do a lot for our athletic programs. We also encourage you to become members as well. But this is an organization that has done a lot for us as a school, where we've had shortfalls on funding. We've been able to, in the last couple of years, get new scoreboards in the gymnasium, get new scoreboards out on the baseball and softball fields. We've been able to do a number of things, decided to build a softball field as well. So we've had a lot of support from community members and businesses, but the boosters also are a big part of that as well. Last thing I want to cover is the appeals process. If you want to appeal an athletic code violation, if you want to appeal it, you have 10 days to give written notification that you want to appeal the athletic code violation. I will then, if it's a group 1 activity, set up an appeals hearing, which will include the high school guidance counselor, 4 coaches, advisors, or faculty members. Okay, we've expanded that now just because we're kind of thin with coaches and advisors. Any faculty can be eligible to be on that appeals hearing. The coach and advisor of the sport or activity that the penalty will be applied to will not be part of that appeals hearing. Okay, when you do appeal, the Board of Appeals will hear the reasoning behind the decision presented by the athletic director first, and then they will hear the side of the participant that is appealing. And a parent or parents can be present with that appeals hearing as well. Okay. Before we break up here, volleyball will meet here, stay here. Football, 9 through 12, will meet in the gymnasium. Dance team members, you will have a meeting at a later date, as well as cheerleading. Coach Summers, Coach Walloway will send out information regarding those meetings at a later date. If you can, before the night is over, do a couple things. Number 1, I have paper clips back there. If you can paper clip all your information and submit it in that box before you leave. That's how we can keep track of your attendance here tonight, being part of the code. If your child isn't here, or if your parent isn't here, they will need to set up a meeting with me. We're going to have a couple different showings of this. We have it taped. One of those showings, if you're not in fall sport, will be during the open house session. So that would be another time where people are generally here anyway. But you can submit that paperwork in the basket. As far as your activity fee is concerned, that is going to be due before the first contest. So whether it's a check or money order or cash, whatever the case is, we will hold on to it in our vault. Once you work those 4 events, then you will get that reimbursed to you. And how we're going to keep track of those events, one thing I forgot to mention, is we will have slips at the concession booths that has the date, the time you worked, the event you worked, and it's going to be signed off by a member of the Booster Club. Okay, once you collect 4 of those slips as a family, then you can turn those 4 slips in the office and you can get your $100 reimbursed to you. If you, as a husband, just so I'm clear with that, if you have a son, a daughter, a husband, and a wife, and you work, 2 of you work one night, 2 of you work another night, that's 4 events. That's 4 slots that are taken up. Okay, so really, when you look at it that way, it's really not a whole lot that we are asking of you. Okay? But please remember to get that paperwork in the office, and again, if you are participating in football, for sure, your physical cards and your alternate year cards must be turned into the office by tomorrow in order to participate. Anybody have any questions?
I have a couple questions.
Yeah.
Okay, as far as the random drug tests, are the police going to be involved if they do test positive?
No.
Okay.
The records are going to be sealed.
Okay. And then as far as the kids getting put in the pot, say if they're just in like a sport later on in the season, are they put in right away or later on, or how does that work?
Well, for example, if there is a student out there that's not going to be, they don't know if they're going to participate in golf or track when the spring comes, okay, they still have to pay a $100 fee and work their 4 events before the end of the school year.
I know I was talking about the random drug test thing, as far as if they go over a sport later on, are they going to be put in that pot later on?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Not right away?
Well, it's hard to tell. If like for example, if a freshman comes in and they don't know if they're going to go for a sport, let's say they do join track, at the very end they decide to. I mean, we don't know as a district if they are going to be, if they're in a sport. Now, if as a returner, let's say you went out for track as a freshman, okay, you will be put in that lot right away as sophomores, because we know for sure you participate in an extracurricular activity, even if you don't necessarily go out. I guess down the road you could be maybe taken out if you don't participate in anything and don't have a parking permit.
Okay. And if you guys do suspect kids are under the influence or something, do you guys have the power to drug test them? Or is it all
Not drug test.
randomized?
Not drug test. I mean, if we suspect somebody's consuming alcohol or somebody consumes alcohol and we smell it, we can test them. Or we can have the police come in and test them. But not drugs.
Okay.
That's randomized.
Okay. And then, I guess the goal for this is to get them the help they need. If they do test positive. So, would that be to go to like?
We wouldn't necessarily mandate counseling per se, but first and foremost is informing the parents. That's the first step. Okay, giving them help through the guidance counselor. The guidance counselor has programs that they can offer the kids to, and parents sit down with them and get them going in the right direction. Okay, the biggest step is to identify the problem.
You don't have to do a program?
No. But, well,
Why do you think that why?
or take away the parking permit, or,
Yeah.
that's as far as our arm can reach as a district.
Why can't you guys just random drug test the whole school and,
Legally, we cannot.
just like random drug test the whole school, say, and then help they need instead of taking away things?
As we look into the legalities of all this, legally, we cannot test everybody. It's only those that
That's bigger.
voluntarily sign up for something extra.
Okay.
Does staff here get drug tested?
As of right now, no, I don't have any jurisdiction over our faculty. I did offer to the board that our coaches would be more than willing to partake in this as well. They have not taken any action on it yet. They may, and if they do, I know as coaches, we have no issue. That's as far as my arm reaches. Can the board have the faculty do it on the road? I'm sure they can. Yeah, absolutely they can. As of right now, I don't know.
Students, yeah, you're probably testing everything. But he was, where do you bring this into the program?
And this is step one. I mean, this is the first step in trying to deter kids. That's what we're really trying to get at. Any others? If you have any other questions or whatnot, oh, sorry.
If I'm not mistaken, with the $100 fee, is it true that checks are going to be held and given back to you? So essentially, you're not really spending $100.
Correct.
Unless you don't do your deal.
Correct. We will not cash those checks or money orders or whatever until June 1st, until the sports season's over with, and if you guys did not fulfill those four, then we will cash them after June 1st, which is usually when our last events are here.
Yes.
Before the first game, we will need, before the first contest, for any Group 1 activities, any interscholastic sports, cheer and dance. If you're in student council, if you're in forensics, this fee, as of right now, does not apply. If you're only in that, but if you're in any other, if you play 3 sports, if you play 1 sport, it's $100 across the board. Make it out to Crivets High School. If they have one in the spring, then you should be able to submit a physical card from, and date it. There's a green card there in the back. Oh, you haven't? Just fill out that information, fill it in, the date that they did it. Okay, if they have that information, then we can just get it over to us. So maybe just make a note on that it's on file in middle school. And we'll get it over by us. Any others? Okay, and again, just a quick reminder about the Meat Bag Toss tournament on Saturday. Hopefully we can see a lot of you parents and relatives.